Welcome back to Rising. Tonight, NewsNation will present a new special called Killing Cancer, The Power Within, hosted by NewsNation anchor Chris Cuomo, exploring the latest breakthroughs in cancer research, transforming cancer treatments as well. Let's take a look.
NewsNation tonight. What if everything we thought we knew about cancer was wrong?
So you're telling me the federal government is aware but dismisses what you believe is the most important thing to be focused on?
NewsNation anchor Chris Cuomo joins us now live from New York. Thank you so much for being here to preview this.
Happy Thanksgiving. Thank you for the opportunity.
Now, Chris, tell us about your new special, Killing Cancer. Paint the picture for us.
So this is different tonight. I was the anchor of 2020 for a long time, and a piece like this would have been, here's what Dr. Pat says, here's what the FDA says, here's what an expert says, and we would go back and forth and leave it to you to figure out what's preference. This is different. This is Dr. Pat's story. Why? Because this guy is not a snake oil salesman, and he's not someone who's coming in from the outside with a revolutionary idea. This guy's a billionaire from the biotech industry who owns a big piece of the LA Lakers and owns the LA Times and was the motivator for Biden's cancer moonshot. Okay? This guy has bona fides. He has a lot of privilege, and he has a lot of access, and he can't get past the FDA's barriers to entry for cancer drugs, except for a very limited application on bladder cancer. Why? That's what we're asking tonight. The science part is actually pretty easy. Chemo and radiation, we all know about it because we all know somebody who's fought and either won or lost against cancer, right? What it does is to attack the tumor, it kills a big piece of the body around it, makes you weak, right? This does the opposite, his process. It uses less chemo and radiation and uses a drug that boosts our T cells, our natural killer cells within the immune system, to kill tumors. And we'll show you how it works with actual tumors being fought by these cells.
Well, Chris, Dr. Soon Shishong shared some of this evidence with you on how the treatment works. Let's take a listen.
This patient had a brain tumor. Now, the brain tumor, the patient had radiation, chemo, and surgery, and then it recurs. These patients have a lifespan about 3 months, 4 months. So we've taken patients who failed all chemotherapy, failed everything, and gotten this kind of response. There's no chemo in this treatment, no radiation in this treatment, and the tumor is now really reducing in months.
You know, I'm someone who's been a big proponent of right to try. Why not let people, not against their will, of course not without being properly informed, but if people want to try something new and then we'll learn as a society, and Trump has talked about that in the past being a great idea. Are there bureaucratic and regulatory hurdles in the way that we need to clear out? Is that the case? Yeah.
This is what it is, my brother.
Money.
The insurers don't want to pay for it. Why? Why would they? Why would they want to? Because the FDA has its systems and its preferences and the people that it likes to work with and how. Now, look, what's fair pushback? Hey, Dr. Pat, if you're so confident and you got money and time, just do the testing. Do the testing, check all the boxes, and then you'll get approved if it's as good as you say it is. It's not that simple because he doesn't have the time and he's already done the testing and he believes that it's counterproductive. Now, is that controversial? Yeah, it's controversial. I could make an argument for both sides of that proposition. What I can't understand, and you said the magic words, President Trump, I would be surprised if President Trump doesn't see an opportunity in this, because this is ripe for disruption. Because the desperation's there. Look at my face. This is what my daughter calls a mouse stache. I am growing it for Movember for men's cancer treatment. This is where we are as a society, that I am willing to make myself look like my grandmother for the right cause. We should be open to everything. This is not a balanced approach tonight in this piece. It's Dr. Pat's story to get the conversation started. I welcome the administration, Secretary Kennedy, to come on and tell me why I'm wrong about this. I welcome it.
Now, Chris, you also spoke to some cancer survivors. So can you tell us a little bit about that experience?
Yeah, I mean, look, it breaks your heart because, look, these are people and nothing else has worked, right? So like, as you were saying, my man, well, why not give him the chance? Well, who's going to pay for it? So Dr. Pat helps with that for a lot of people because he's very wealthy, right? So he can do it, but he can't do it for everybody. And you'll judge for yourselves what the responses are. Again, we're not selling, this new herb, or go to Mexico and get in this tube and you'll come out cancer free. This is not a gimmick, okay? The FDA has already approved the fundamental scientific aspects and processes of this, but they won't do it for everything, just for a very narrow channel of bladder cancer. That means insurers won't pick it up for anything else. That's what we're talking about tonight. And it's the right time because the country's going to be talking about this. We want to get the conversation started, and we'll see where it takes us.
And obviously, in the years since the COVID pandemic, there's been a lot of criticism from Americans of all different political stripes about health the responses of our government to health problems. Some people are happy about how quickly the COVID vaccine was approved. Others say it could have been even faster. Other people have various oppositions to requiring it of people. I think it's about getting the American people to a place where, it should be your choice. Your health is your business, and you should talk to doctors about that, but you should be able to try things. You shouldn't be required to do things. Is this about instilling a kind of ethos of voluntary self-information, that sort of thing, about saying this is what's right for you, because it might be different than what's right for somebody else?
I think that all of that is in the mix. I think this is about making the government account for what choices it makes, and how that affects the rest of us. Look, I am not a big purveyor of the paranoia that came through the pandemic. The irony here is that there are a lot of these anti-vaxxers who see me as the enemy, right? They think that I was a guy who was pushing the vaccine. Yeah, I was, because the government told me that's what we needed to do. And it's easy to say now, yeah, you should have questioned that. On what basis? Everybody wanted the vaccine. Dr. Pat talks about the vaccine and what is good about the vaccine and what needed to happen that didn't after the vaccine. So that's part of this as well. I think, look, I don't have to tell you guys this. I mean, the Hill is all over this narrative all the time, and rightly so, and you do it well on Rising and elsewhere on the platform. We're all about division, outrage, clickbait, and algorithms that capture and maximize those things, right? I heard you talking about how there are all these fake accounts. Yeah, duh. The question is, why are they so effective? Because the algorithm plays to the advantage of fake accounts that push outrage. That's where we are. So how do you get to change if all the money is made in pissing people off? That's why things don't change. But maybe with Bobby in there, who wants to be a disruptor, and this president with a perspective towards disruption as a virtue, maybe Dr. Pat will get a second shot, and I want to be part of that opportunity.
So what's next for Dr. Pat? Let's say Trump takes the phone call. Let's say RFK gets on board. What is the ideal circumstance in this situation?
To be fair, okay, I think Bobby is I know Bobby Kennedy is very aware of Dr. Pat, knows him, has used his plane during the campaign. So why won't he hook him up? Legit question. What I would like is a fair hearing on that. Well, I'm not saying that President Trump should wave his hand and say everybody gets a Braxane, or whatever it is. We don't need that. We don't need a rash decision. We need, let him go up there, present his findings, and you tell us why he needs to do all these years of more things, why you don't know enough already to get insurance companies to give people who are about to die a chance to try something that could change that. Not will, not must, but could.
Chris Cuomo, thank you so much for joining us, and I personally think the mustache looks great. We really appreciate you having us.
No, you don't.
I do.
No, you don't.
I've never said that about a mustache.
You can't. You can't think that. You are preying on my downfall. That's what you're doing.
Oh, you look like
want me to keep it because this will never. I can't stay in the business.
You look like an old Western bandit or something.
No, there's nothing. I'm telling you, my grandmother died with more hair on her face than I have right now. I'm an embarrassment to my people. I am an embarrassment to my kind. Right. But I am doing it to raise money. Go to Movember and pay me so this can go away.
All right, we'll take you up on that. You can see the Killing Cancer special tonight, 10 p.m. on NewsNation. To find your NewsNation channel, go to newsnationnow.com. Thanks so much. More Rising right after this.